Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Aaron Cresswell and Ben Johnson, Nor Mustafa and Laura Vetterlein, who have joined us for this discussion around our Stop the Hate programme.
Obviously, we've had, as a club, from a club's point of view, we've had a lot of, a lot of subjects, what we've discussed as players, as a team, as a club. And certainly, the subject that we're on is one for me, and that's what, I wanted to take part in. And whether it's a little help or a big help, but if we can help in some way, whether that's, pushing one direction that we want to go to achieve, the ultimate, to completely get rid of it and kick it out. That's what we want to do. So this subject is fantastic for me and them.
Yeah, and for you, but I mean, I know a couple of your, I think, closer relatives. I'm showing my age because I played with Paul Parker. I played against Ledley. Is it something that it's been a part of the family, something you discussed it with those guys?
It's really tough for them when they played. So I think for me to learn off them and really make a difference in the first team and really just open eyes, I think is something that I took the chance to jump at. And especially him with Cress and the knowledge he has as well, I think it's essential for me to play a big role in it.
Absolutely. Look, well, thank you for being here. As you know, our Stop the Hate programme goes into schools, and it's the young people we're trying to affect and educate, and they play a big part in this. And they've got some questions for you. By the way, they're tough. You know what kids are like? They just straight. There's no innuendo. They just say it straight. So I'm going to put you under pressure here, guys. Here's the first one. If you have experienced racism, how did you act, and would you do the same in the future? So great question. Experienced racism, how did you act, and how would you act in the future? I'll give that one to Ben first.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever been racially abused, so it's a bit of a weird one for me. I know a lot of players have experienced it, but going through my career, I don't think I have. So I don't know what I would do. Like now, clubs and teams have agreed to walk off, but I think it's down to the team what they want to do. Honestly, for me, I would want to carry on, but to make a statement, you have to walk off as well. So I'm not really sure with that one.
Yeah, one time I remember very clearly, we played an away game, and I played very well. I scored 5 goals, and on my way to the locker room after the game, a man in the stands yelled at me, "You f***ing immigrant, go back to your country." And I was so happy that we just won. I played a good game, and that's the first thing I hear after a game. It's not a good feeling. And we were young, and it was hard for me at the moment, but I just kept going into the changing room. I didn't stop. I didn't say anything back not because I was scared to, or I can't stand up for myself, but I just thought this guy is ignorant. Like, if this is the way he's thinking, it's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
But but the funny thing is, if that happened to one of my friends, I always stood up for them. I went to that person and said, "Hey, that's not acceptable. Why are you talking like this?"
Mm-hmm.
I always did that for my friends because I experienced it myself, and I've seen other teammates and friends outside football even. So, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Really good answer. But I mean, the second part of that question was, would you change how you acted? Would you, for instance, would you share that with somebody because you kept it to yourself? You said that, it was, you can stand up for yourself. Yeah. But it's interesting because that man would have gone away, and because he wasn't challenged, would have gone and done that to your friends. Now, because he wasn't challenged, he wasn't told that it was unacceptable. So would there be, what do you think you would do differently now?
But the thing is, back then I was young.
Yeah.
But now, when you get older, you get more mature. I would tell him, "Hey, you can't speak like that."
Yeah.
I would confront him saying, "That's not acceptable, the way you talk."
Brilliant. Fantastic. And Laura, the same question to you. Have you had any, have you experienced racism?
Yeah, lucky enough, I haven't experienced it. But knowing what's happening right now in the world, or also in the football world, I would definitely always stand up for my teammates, or whoever, even opponents, whoever is involved in a situation. I would always stand up for the ones who face that struggle at the moment, because I think it's important that we all stick together and call people out that don't act accordingly. And yeah, when I was younger, I would maybe also just have said, oh, never mind, just ignore them. But knowing what's happening at the moment in the world, or having a bit more experience, I would always say, hey, no, we have to speak up, we have to stick together. And even if it means stopping to play for that moment, because I don't want to share a pitch with players, for example, that give racist comments, or if it comes from the stands, then I don't want to play in front of that crowd. They don't deserve to watch us play. And just to send that message out to the world that we are all like in the same boat here. No one wants to accept it. And when we start ignoring those things, I think people get away with it, and they think, it just works like that. So knowing what's going on now, I think we definitely should speak up.
Why do you think racism happens in our society?
Good question. Why do you think racism in our society? I'll go to Ben first for that one.
I think there's so many components to it, right? You could say it's the way you've been brought up. That would be the most, probably the easiest one you could say, really. I couldn't really tell you. It could be jealousy, it could be inferiority, I don't really know. It could be a hatred, or so. It's a really tough question. Of course it shouldn't happen, but it does. So yeah, I don't think the one is really.
Aaron, what do you think?
For me, I think there's only one way, Leroy, and I think it's education. Because the only reason I say that, I think no kid grows up, with that anger or that hate inside them towards another race. So I think, obviously there's different, societies, the way people are brought up, education, as I said, is for me that's the key. Whether they need to do more in schools, obviously, different kids are brought up different in different countries. But yeah, for me, the main thing is certainly education, and I think if we can push it into our schools and even do more for it, then I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, I think basically one reason is the history, like what we hear in the school in history, what happened. But the other way, or the other point that I think is even stronger, is the way you are brought up, the way your environment shapes you. So if you are brought up in an environment where people keep telling you, people are put in certain boxes, then you maybe start believing it, and you share that opinion, and even though it's completely wrong. So I think it's all about getting the right education, that we are all equal in this world, and we should make sure that from a young age we don't put those wrong beliefs into the young boys and girls, because I think no one is born racist. It's all about the influence that you get from the outside. So it's for me, it's all about education, and as early as possible to just show that it's okay to be open, and
Absolutely. And Nor, you, why do you think racism happens?
Like Laura said, I think it's a lot to do with history and the way you're brought up. But I think, like I said before, the people that are racist, I think they're ignorant. They don't know better. Like Laura said, when I was younger, my parents always taught me to treat everyone the same, no matter color, gender, disability, anything. Everyone is equal. And when you grow up with friends from all over the world with different skin colors, there's no difference between you guys.
Absolutely. Fantastic answers. Thank you, ladies. There's 3 more questions. I think we should have the next one.
Who has the biggest responsibility to end racism?
Who has the biggest responsibility to end racism? Who do you think it is? Aaron, I'll go to you first.
I think it's as all as one. I don't think it can be. John mentioned, the platform that people can use. Like we're in a privileged position, whether that's using your social media or taking a stand. But I don't think it's just down to one individual or even football. I think it's, as I mentioned before, it's an education thing. I think it's got to happen everywhere, of every walk of life, for it to, to, as I said, keep mentioning, to narrow the gap down and completely get rid of it. I think it's got to happen every day, everywhere we go. I think that's the only way, in my opinion, to get rid of it. And yeah, it's a tough question, but I think that's what we've got to do.
Yeah, Ben, anything to add?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Chris. I think for me, the way I want to be treated, I'm going to have to treat others. Do you know what I mean? You have to respect other people to be respected. And I think that will definitely go a long way. And if you have that mentality, I think that will help you a lot. Just like here, we're so diverse in our team and it brings us together. So I think, yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, just about responsibility. It's really important. And you talked about education now, and about for kids, but it's also education for us as adults as well. When something happens, Ben, you said that you don't think you've experienced racism, but racism comes in different forms. Sometimes it's when people are ignored. It's not even words, and can be subtle. And what we need to do is be able to challenge that, but challenge it in a way where we're going to get a positive outcome. Not when we're going to get into an argument or a fight, but we just say to people, maybe that's not the right way to talk about someone, and make them realize that, that they have been using the wrong sorts of words. So it's interesting that to challenge it in the right way is the way for everybody to kind of get rid of racism. Here's the next one.
Do you think racism can be ended in our lifetime?
Nor, what do you think?
That's my wish. That's what I want for it to happen. But I think what's going on around the world right now, it might in a few years, but it's hard to say. That's what everyone wants, but it's hard to say. But hopefully, if everyone comes together, like we said, I think it's possible, 100%.
Yeah, and you, Laura?
Yeah, definitely. It should be all of our biggest wish to end it as soon as possible, and definitely things like the Black Lives Matter movement and having all those campaigns to raise awareness help a lot. And I think that's why we should keep pushing forward with those campaigns and raise awareness and do all our best while we can while we live to end it. And then hopefully, yeah, we can stop it as soon as possible. And it just should be, for me, it should be so normal that we all loving, kind people and accept diversity.
Just to add on what Laura is saying, I don't think it would be easy. It will take time and it will be hard, but I think it's very possible if everyone comes together and we do it together, hand in hand, 100%.
Absolutely. But that's why, we've got you guys here today to help, with the education program, educating our young people, because they're the ones who are going to make the change, and hopefully it will happen within their lifetime. Might not mine, because I'm a bit old, but anyway, that's another story.
That could be the toughest of them all, really. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't know what other people did on the other side of the world, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely doing all you can do. I think it's all I can say, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of an impossible, answer to give, and we'd like to think so, but as I mentioned before, we all have that magic wand to completely get rid of it tomorrow. Obviously, I'm sure everyone would do it, but as Jono said, different sides, of the world, and go back to it. People, they grow up different, they have different beliefs, and we'd like to. But as I keep mentioning before, we can keep changing that little bit day by day. I'm sure we'll get there sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Okay, couple more questions, guys. Here's the next one.
Is one form of prejudice worse than any other?
What do you think, Laura?
I think prejudice as a whole is unacceptable. You can't go and say the one thing is worse than another. I think, we are all humans. We should all think we are all the same. So for me, that's all kind of prejudice is not all right.
Absolutely. And you know?
Yeah, of course, I agree with that 100%. It doesn't matter your race, your ethnicity, your sexuality, if you have a disability. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we should be treated the same, and we have the same value and the same worth.